Now, to all my mamas who have a father for their child who is actively involved, well, I hope you got a father for your child, but people are single moms by choice. So some people have a vial that that is the biological father of their child, but isn't necessarily involved in their child's life. And some people have something more, but he ain't doing nothing. So I feel you, I hear you, I understand you, and I want to help you move abroad too, because it definitely is possible. But I will always say that if you have a father who wants to be involved in his child's life, you should allow him the opportunity. Even if you decide to move abroad, you got to think of ways that he can stay active and involved in the child's life. So be it slow traveling, be it moving abroad permanently, you need to make sure that you make that child available to him, because every father deserves the right to get to know his child, and every child deserves the right to get to know his father. I don't care how much you can't stand him, he is still that child's biological father, and that child deserves to know, even if he's a hot mess, that child deserves to know that he's a hot mess and decide for themselves whether they want him to continue being in their life or not. That is their choice, not yours, as long as, of course, he's not physically or sexually violent.
Okay. I filmed this video over the course of a couple of days, so you're going to see me look in a couple different ways. And if this is your first time to my website, my YouTube channel, hey girl, hey, my name is Jackie O, and I am an OG original Black digital nomad and globetrotting mama, and I have been crisscrossing the globe for over 25 years now. And currently I slow travel with my 2-year-old daughter, Baby Ruth. And my whole channel is devoted to uplifting, inspiring, teaching, and motivating other Black women to either move abroad or travel full time. And today's episode, if you haven't guessed it, guys, is all about how to legally move abroad with your child. And I'm specifically going to be talking about if you are a single mom, how you do it. And it also seems just very appropriate because I have a shirt on that I got in Indonesia, and if you don't speak Indonesian, it says, "Where are my rights?" And it's talking about rights of children just in general, and respecting children's human rights. So if you want to find out more, stay tuned, because your girl Jackie O is here for you. And I've also heard you guys loud and clear, and I know you want more videos on how to make money, videos on finances, and I promise you that I'm going to get those done. And I'm also going to do more of Black women doing the most, where I interview Black women who are thriving abroad. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and like this video. It really helps me out. And if you get a chance, head on over to my website. The information is below. I actually have a pop-up that if you sign up, give me an email, you will get an actual free move abroad planner, and that will really help you get started. So come to my website, guys, and let's get all up in this. I'm talking moving abroad. I'm talking how to leave with your parent, with your child, not your parent, how to leave the country with your child. And I'm also talking about my garden. Oh, and guys, my arms are like all covered with this calamine, is that what you call it, ointment, because the mosquitoes were biting me up today. I was out working in the garden, and mosquitoes are no joke. They just love me, and I get these big welts. They're like golf balls, and it looks like I have mumps, and that ain't cute. So to keep them from swelling up too much and to keep myself from itching like crazy, I put all this oil, this cream on my arm. So I don't have poison ivy, I don't got leprosy, I just got mosquito bites.
I'm eating a salad, y'all. I love eating salads from vegetables I get from my garden. And if you look at some of my highlights on Instagram, you'll see my garden's good this year, y'all. It's real good. So I'm going to start providing more gardening tips, because eating farm-to-table food, especially when you're farming it yourself, there is nothing like it. And when you are abroad and you got farmers as your neighbors, I mean, they can kind of put your garden to shame. That's okay, because guess what you do? You learn from them, and that's what I do. I'm learning how to grow these carrots. I'm learning how to grow better lettuce. I'm learning irrigation. I'm learning as much as I can from people who have been doing it on these lands for centuries. So that's just a tip for you guys. Learn from the people around you, no matter what their craft, their profession is. Some of you guys have seen on my IG that I'm learning how to weave, because when I say weave, guys, the actual ancient practice of weaving, not put a weave in my hair. Although maybe I'll watch some of these girls on YouTube and know how to do that too, because knowledge is golden, and you never know when you can use a skill set. So it's just another tip, advice for you. Always be humble. Always be willing to learn, because you never know when that skill set is going to come in handy. And with these days we have it now, if you don't know how to grow your own food, I'm worried about you and your future. I'm just saying. Don't judge me. I'm just a messenger. Now, guys, if you only have one parent, if your name is the only name on your child's birth certificate, then legally that child doesn't have enough a parent. But contact, again, you're unmarried. If you're married, there's usually a presumption of paternity. That's a legal term, which presumes that your spouse is the biological father, or I'm not sure now, but your spouse is the biological parent of your child, right? So if you are single, as in unmarried, never married, and there is no biological parent other than yourself listed on your birth certificate, then usually you're good to go in terms of getting a passport, in terms of traveling full-time with your child, because your child only has, according to that piece of paper, one parent. Now, I will give you a caveat. If you've done something to prevent that other parent from being on that birth certificate, you may be in a tricky legal situation there. So again, consult with an attorney. Like, if you want to move abroad with a child, consult an attorney before you just go, right? Because you don't want to get involved in an international custody dispute. You don't want to do it, y'all. Just trust me, you don't. Okay? Now, guys, real talk, for my oldest daughter, my daughter who passed away, I actually had to go to court to get an order from a judge allowing me to leave the country, to go to both Indonesia and Ethiopia, where I lived for approximately 3 years, almost 4, in those countries with my daughter. And what the court in most states, again, I'm going to say this a million times, guys, talk to an attorney who is a family law attorney who is well versed in the laws of your state in regards to an international relocation with a child. Now, what the court cannot do is prohibit you from moving, but they damn sure can prohibit you from moving out of state with your child. So the child may have to stay, and you can go wherever you will please. So if you want to move abroad with your child or children, make sure that you speak to an attorney and make sure you have the right legal documents in place. Again, for my oldest daughter, I did have to go through this process. It is not as intimidating as you would think it is. Again, guys, full disclaimer, I was still a practicing attorney at the time, so I was more comfortable going into court than, let's say, the average person. But even for you, sitting at home, hoping that you can go somewhere with your child, I do not want you to be intimidated by the process, because it is indeed just a process. And yeah, sometimes court sucks and judges can be assholes. We all know that. But at the end of the day, it is just a stepping stone in getting you to where you want to be, which is living abroad and or traveling abroad. So you got to do what you got to do. Save up your money, get a halfway decent attorney, especially if the non-custodial parent has an attorney. Okay, so, and the court, if you have to go the court route, particularly if you have an existing custody order in place, the court is going to want to hear a plan from you and your attorney, your legal counsel, about how you're going to maintain that parental bond. So how are you going to make sure that your child gets to have conversation with their dad, get to visit their dads, get to correspond, all that good stuff. So you need to really be thinking about that. And if you have a positive co-parenting relationship, before you even go to court route, just go and have a conversation with that child's biological parent. And I don't necessarily want to assume that the child's legal parent is a male. You could be co-parenting with your partner or former partner who is also a female or non-binary. So for all that, I am telling you, if you can first and foremost just have a conversation about what that will look like with that person, and hopefully that person's adult enough that they'd be willing to compromise. Not maybe your custody arrangement completely changes. Maybe you just have your kid during the school year and you travel abroad, and during the summers that kid is with their other parent. But just be creative, think outside. Maybe if you are traveling full time, maybe it's every 3 months, you're traveling around the world, you come back for a month so that kid can spend some time with their parent. So just think about it, be creative, don't be narrow-minded, because one of the things about moving abroad and traveling full-time is that you gotta expand your mind, you gotta be flexible, you gotta be open. So if you are going to do that, if you're going to move abroad, then you gotta be open about sharing your child with another person who is 50% their DNA or who has had a significant part in their life. So think about that. Think about different ideas of how you can truly keep that child's other parent involved in their life, because I'm telling you, the court's going to want to know that. Now, let's say you've had a conversation with your co-parent, with your child's other legal parent or guardian, and they're like, hell no, or they're not necessarily agreeable to you leaving the country either full-time or on a part-time basis. Because guys, you just got to be open-minded. You may not get everything you want, but if you get the opportunity to even spend six weeks a year traveling with your child or living in another country, do it. Like, do it. Like, everything doesn't have to be exactly how you dreamed it was going to be, but like, at least it can be a step, right? And as your child particularly gets older, then they can have more of a say. Suppose like when they get 13 and 14, you can go back to that parent, or you can go back to the court, and you can have a conversation, and that child can be involved in that decision-making process, saying, hey, I love this lifestyle. I love living in Portugal. I love living in Brazil. I want to live there 6 months out of the year, 8 months out of the year, the whole year, and this is how we are going to make it work. And the courts will, at some point, particularly when kids start getting older and forming their own opinions, listen to their thoughts and opinions, as they should. Okay? So again, I'm going to say this over and over again, don't just deuce without having a conversation with your co-parent. Like, don't do it. Like, don't get caught up in that legal peril. Don't have international actions against you. Don't get your passport frozen. Don't do any of that stuff, okay? See an attorney. If you need to go the court route, go it. If you can afford an attorney, make sure you get one. If you can't afford an attorney, which I know there's some people out there saying they can't, then just be clear that you understand the standard to be able to get a custody order, the legal standard, the legal threshold that is required to get a custody order amended in your particular state, and they can vary by state. So make sure that you are crystal clear on what that is. Y'all heard me? And it varies by state. And again, don't just listen to somebody on the internet. Yes, I am a foreign attorney. Yes, I did practice family law at one point, but guys, I don't practice law anymore. And I want to be crystal clear with you guys that you should at least have a consultation and an attorney, so you know your legal standing and you know some of the best legal arguments that will help you get what you want at the end of the day. Okay? Y'all, your girl has been recording all day, doing interviews, podcasts, being interviewed. I was tired. But I said, I got to do a little bit more on this video that I'm getting ready for YouTube, on giving you guys some advice on how to legally move abroad with your children. Okay? Because like I've said throughout this video, I'm going to keep on saying, because ain't nobody suing me, is consult an attorney before you go anywhere with your child, especially if there's a co-parent in the picture and they are even nominally involved, okay? Because when you go to court, and if you get to the point where you actually have to go into a courtroom, what the judge is going to be looking for is what is in the best interest of the child, right? The best interest of the child standard. So what you need to be formulating in your own head right now is why this move is in the best interest of the child, right? Now, I'm going to look and see if I can dig up my court order for when I was allowed to take my oldest daughter out of the country to both Indonesia and Ethiopia. But the summary of the order went something like, the opportunities for the mother are wonderful, phenomenal, and they will pass on to the child. In addition to that, I was able to show to the court, again, I'm an attorney, that I was making significant effort to make sure that child and biological father maintained some sort of relationship. And guys, again, I was doing all this before WhatsApp, before all that. Like, phone calls were super expensive and all that stuff, but I was very crystal clear on, here's my plan so that my daughter can continue to build a relationship with her father, her biological father, as well as enjoy these amazing opportunities that she would have traveling the world with me. And I was also able to build the argument that the opportunities that I was getting, I could not replicate in the U.S. at all. And of course, living in Indonesia, you can't replicate that. Living in Ethiopia, you can't replicate that. And it was definitely very pivotal to my career and my growth, etc., etc. So you want to make sure that you are crystal clear in that argument. And when I say that argument, just the discussion, those facts, be clear in your head on those reasons. Like, write them down even before you go to an attorney. Like, make sure you understand why this is important for you and why it's important for your child. And write those down and have some of that stuff together. And again, guys, document. If you have never been involved in family law, if you've never been a part of like the court system anymore, you want to document, especially y'all who have some wishy-washy baby daddies, okay? Because you want to document that you have made that child available before you decided to move abroad, that father had every opportunity to develop a relationship with that child, and he chose not to. And one of the standards that the court likes to look at is cards, gifts, and letters. Did the father attempt to send the child birthday cards, birthday gifts, all that stuff? Did he attempt to call the child? If not, that only bolsters your argument that the child-parent bond isn't necessarily that strong. Now, what the court is also going to say is that the child, despite the fact that the father might have been shitty, the child still deserves an opportunity to get to know that parent, right? So if the parent is actually genuine, the non-custodial parent is genuine about wanting to be involved in that child's life, then the court is still going to allow him an opportunity to do so. But you just need to make sure that you have done nothing to interfere with his parental rights or parental responsibility, that you have been as amenable and as flexible as possible, because lots of times biological non-custodial fathers like to make the argument that baby mama wasn't allowing him to see his child for whatever reason. And if that's the case, guys, then the court may make you stay in the United States. Well, not make you, because the court can't make you, but they may make the child be unable to leave the state that you're inhabiting. So I know it might be tough, guys. Trust me, I know for my first daughter, it may be tough. But do what you can so that it can never be shown in a court of law that you interfered with this father trying to establish a relationship with his child. That is just so crucial. If you can show that you've gone above and beyond and that for whatever reason he dropped the ball, then that's on him. It truly is, okay? So I hope this advice has been useful to you guys. I know like court systems, especially if you're like a black woman, can be extremely stressful. I know some of y'all are sitting at home like, Jackie, he's an asshole, he's a douchebag, he's this, he's that. Or maybe you're thinking the opposite, like he's a good dad, like this is just something I want to do, I need to do. And if you're that person, then just have a conversation with him. If he is a somewhat reasonable person and you are able to present options to him where he can still spend time with his child or his children, and you guys can travel the world, and it may not be exactly how you want it, it may not be full-time, it may just be for part of the year, it may just be for summers, but don't throw away that opportunity because you're not getting 100% of what you want. Like, if you can get partial the way there, just do that, okay? Like, be open, be flexible. I always have this saying, and I actually did was part of a feature in American Express, you got to be like water. You got to be like strong and powerful, but yet flexible and amendable. I mean, that is how you have to be just in general, but especially if you're going to embrace this international lifestyle. Because guess what, guys? Everything's not going to go exactly how you want it to go all the time. But like, if you can get you and your baby out of the country, even for a few months out of the year, trust me, guys, it is so worth it. This experience, these experiences, these memories are so worth it. And it doesn't matter how old your child is. Trust me. Trust me when I tell you that they may not necessarily remember, oh, I went to the pyramids in Egypt, but like the stuff that you will start to see them like recall, and the facts that they will know, and just their self-confidence and their sense of being and place in this world, it's just immeasurable. So again, I encourage you to stick with it. If this is something that you want for yourself and for your family, do not be shy about it. Just go for it. And again, I encourage you to get an attorney if you want to leave the country with your child or children, right? And if you can't afford an attorney, just research. Like, make sure you understand the burden of proof that you need to overcome in order to leave the country. And keep in mind, best interest of the child. And the court will always be looking for ways for that child to have a relationship with both parents. So even if you were leaving, and even if that daddy hasn't really had a relationship with that child beforehand, you still in your head need to be thinking, when you're international, how you're going to be able to allow your child to stay in contact with their father. Okay? So I love you, O Squad. I hope this was helpful. Let me know what other videos you'd like me to make. These are always so much fun for me. And until next time, you are magical, and so your life should be too. I'm out of here.
Hey, black girl. Hey, you good? Because I'm fabulous. I'm a digital nomad, and my lifestyle allows my daughter and I to experience new places, culture, foods, and people. Living abroad and or traveling full-time is amazing. It is freedom. I can work from anywhere. I want more black women to experience the same sort of freedom. I help black women manifest their dreams of a life abroad or a full-time travel. Are you ready for a life beyond your wildest dreams?